because there's so much to do. You can't have the health of sleeping. At the library, I went to the library Friday and Saturday because, you know, I'm reading the New York statutes. I'm in the civil practice laws and rules, the CPLR. I'm up to Article 30, and that's a doozy. It goes on for 3 volumes, and I was reading the complaint forms, and I was in the middle of that when my life was taken away by all of these lawbreakers and the legal papers and the crooked lawyers and the corrupt judges. And so I had to stop that, and I went back and I made it up from January the 5th, and I made it up for all the month of January, and I did the backlog for the month of February, and now I'm up to March the 28th. With all of April to go, and of course whatever part of May has gone by so far. And so since I was in the middle of doing the CPLR by that method of going to the White Plains Public Library and reading it and copying it, and that cost about $60 or $70, I had to finish what I was in the middle of, because you just can't walk off in the middle of something. So I went back and I finished that, and we've copied forms, and that's cost, let's see, $10 and $10 to copy those forms, and I'm reading them now. And as soon as I finish those, there's about 1,500 forms. As soon as I finish reading those, I'm going to do my little handbook and do the CPLR that way, until I finish the CPLR that way, and then I'll go back to the library and continue reading the New York statutes. The Bendish opposition to his dumb motion and copied and plagiarized motion to dismiss went up to 113 pages. The leaves came out this week, and that is such a beautiful green, that fresh spring green of the leaves. You see that once a year. So I've finished volumes 4F and 4G of the New York statutes. It's rained a lot, and that's nice. Delgadio, my dentist, a singing dentist, and he's back to his old self, and I'm so happy about that. And he smoothed my tooth, and it took me 2 months to get back to him to do that with all of his other standing up for rights. Franklin had to do the errands on foot Monday while I was in Brooklyn, and as I was standing at the elaborate appellate division building, New York Supreme Court, I had my back looking at some papers, and I heard a man come up the stairs and say, "Hello, Glendora," and it was Guy Mangano, and he's the chief judge down there. On yesterday, everything got behind, so I sat down and I did the telephoning. That's about all I did all day, and I did 180 telephone calls, and I got that up to date. The Smith Corona, I paid $79 for it, typewriter, the 250 DLE. I bought it at Staples. It was a good typewriter, and then it went all to pieces, and the gears stripped, and it wouldn't find a margin, and you couldn't move it. So I took it to World Office Supply, and they want $65, and when you add the tax to that, it's going to be like $70 to repair it. Does that make sense? $70 to repair a $79 typewriter, and they said, "Oh, we didn't know that's all it cost was $79. Where'd you get that price, if I don't mind asking?" And I said, "One at Staples." We bought one at Staples, and we bought another one at Office Max, $79. Oh, so I tried to reason with him that this was an illogical thing to do. World Office Machines is down in Yonkers. It's just below Nathan's on Central Park Avenue. It's south of Nathan's, a half a mile, and it's on the right-hand side. So that was a trip in futility. There again, it's a ripoff, and who's going to stand that? So, and they don't come to the phone and talk to you so that you can make them reason. So I'm going to tell the CEO of Smith Corona what happened, and I'm just not going to have it done. and I'll go down and get the machine. Franklin says he'll go down and get it today, and then we will put it in his box, and we will give it to the church for somebody to buy who maybe is very handy at this sort of thing and can get use out of it and save a whole lot of money. So that's what's going to happen to Smith Corona number 5. My first Smith Corona I got from college when I graduated in 1950 as a college gift, as a graduation gift. I want to show you again some of Franco DeRosa's computer drawings. These drawings are by Franco DeRose, who works for TCI. Let's see. I don't know how he does this. Whoops. Winter, snow. And this is the computer that does the drawings at Franco's skilled hand. This is a hockey puck that he copied, and he did the rink from his, without any model. He just did it. And the buildings, he just did them. He didn't have any picture to copy. And these are various emblems and patches. These are by Franco DeRose with TCI. Computer drawings on his home computer. Very glad to see at the rally against bad judges in Brooklyn, Carl Ancesera and Harvey Cash of Americans for Legal Reform. And I would like to read you from the Center for Judicial Accountability some of their goals: developing a mechanism to identify and verify legitimate complaints about judges, reflected in the many horror stories about judges we are receiving, and to document the failure of government officials and agencies to take meaningful coercive action. They're a bunch of do-nothings. Creating a database of activists, grassroots groups, and other organizations working on issues of judicial selection and discipline, as well as organizations involved in promoting and protecting citizens' rights in our courts. Identifying members of the media sensitive to the enormous power wielded by judges and receptive to stories about judicial selection, incompetence, and misconduct. Developing informational materials about how citizens can participate in creating a meaningful judicial selection process free from political influence. Boy, that will be the day. Developing a newsletter and posting informational material on the internet. Count me in. This is the membership form. Call this number, White Plains 914-421-1200. We will close with 3 jokes, and then we will have our hymn. A referee defines the typical sports fan as a guy who screams from the bleachers because he thinks you missed a call in the center of the interior line. Then after the game, he can't find his car in the parking lot. And the basketball coach said to his team, the trouble with officials is that they don't care who wins. An NBA player was asked, what is the biggest detriment to the league, to the National Basketball Association? And the player said, ignorance or apathy. Is it ignorance or apathy? And the player said, well, I don't know and I don't care. And so the hymn is, breathe on me, breath of God, fill me with life anew, that I may love as thou dost love, and do what thou wouldst do. These 3 girls from 4D and 3C have been walking all over the lawn for an hour and a half on rollerblades. Now that's nice for the lawn, isn't it? Plus the abuse they give the lawn ordinarily. Now
Excuse
they're
me,
going
do
to
you
do
have a right
it
to do
with
this to
roller
us? I don't
skates.
think so. Excuse me? If you're going to say anything about us, try saying it out loud, because I don't like people talking about me behind our backs. No, it's my basketball.
Today is May the 6th, 1995, Saturday, and this is going on for an hour and a half, and it's 12 after 6 now.
Excuse me, if you didn't notice, my
So we have two things, White Plains noise ordinance and the destruction of the law, and the violation of our right to hold in peace and enjoyment. That's 2B. That one who spoke was 4D, and this one is 3C.
I look that way. Maybe you would like doing it to parents.
Glendora, this is Jim from High Society. We think you're right. Perhaps you'd like to be in the magazine, because you are polluting everything on my television. You're a sick, sick lady. And there's Spot. Get her, Spot. Hello, Glendora. I think your message is a little bit out of whack. You start a joke about a dog, and then it gets cut off, and I think the punchline gets chewed up there by the tape. I would like very much, please, a Glendora happy book. My name is Will Tracy, Tracy. My address is 1 East Ames Court, AMES, Suite 205, Plainview, New York. 11803. My phone number is 516-349-6635. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, hi, Glendora. I just have one question. Are you fucking nuts? It's crazy. Hello, I don't know if this is a tape message or not, but I would like to know if you can get back to me. My name is Mrs. Marino, M-A-R-I-N-O. My number is Area code 516-586-0161. 586-0161. If you can get back to me at your earliest convenience, I appreciate it. Thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye.
And you These are the calls that were on the recorder Friday night, May the 5th, 1995, when a chat with Glendora was on Cablevision, Nassau County, channel 25 at 10 p.m. And Aaron are two of the names. And Melissa. And this has been going on for 45 minutes. And this is 2B and 3C. And it's 5:47 p.m. May 7th, 1995, Sunday.
What? What you said already? Yes, I have to.
This taxi cab pulls up here at Mossthorne, and that's against the law.
Hi. Why you took me a picture? Why?
The time is 8:38 a.m. and the date is May the 8th, 1995. Okay. These police made me walk all this way to videotape the protest in the rainforest. This is May the 9th, 1995, and the time is 9:30 a.m. This is Rybrook Police. WLR 363. Why are you parked there? See, this is the insecurities of CPO. Here's General Foods. Used to be. Taj Mahal.
I like the outfit.
Thanks.
I like your hat.
Thanks.
Very shiny. I think it's to attract ravens. Ravens like bright shiny objects. Ravens and crows. Yeah, we know. I've been doing this side.
Ma'am, you gotta watch the traffic, please. You gotta get over here, okay?
Rybrook Police.
Boycott Texaco!
No air! No forest! 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 No air! Yeah, we're talking to you!
On the sidewalk, please. Other side of the line.
I'm on the sidewalk.
Other side of the line. Make it easy,
Thank you. Boycott Texaco.
Oh Lord, you won't buy me a Mercedes Benz.
I'm Jerry Ned. Okay, the time is 9:37 a.m. The date is
Texaco!
May the what was I telling you? May the 9th, 1995. The telephone answering machine, there were about 11 of them. This is when TCI, when I chat with Glendora, was on channel 8 at 9 p.m. Tuesday, May 9th.
For a year. $14 million. Well, thank you, Mr. Ducray. Hi, we watch you all the time, and we still enjoy your show. Could you send us a Glendora's Happy Book? My name is Mrs. Robert F. Miller, 166 Forest, F-O-R-E-S-T Avenue in New Rochelle, 10804. Thank you so much. Good luck to you. Bye.
Thank you. And the same.
How are you?
Who are you?
Tracy, you already well.
That's probably a bad one. Leave your name and address.
Sure.
As I say, there are about 11 calls that the others apparently did not choose to leave a message. Hi there, everybody. How you doing? We're going to tell you some jokes. In the locker room, one athlete said that prestige is when people see you and ask you for your autograph. And a second athlete says, no, prestige is going to the White House. And the president sees you and says, hi, Bill, how's the wife and kids? And a third athlete says, no, prestige is being at the Vatican. And you have, you're talking to the Pope, and the photos come out the next day, and the people say, who's the guy next to John in the beanie? Now, one basketball player was talking about the forwards on his basketball team. He says they're so slow that if it would rain, they'd get rusty. And Diane said to a basketball player, you smell good tonight. What are you wearing? And the basketball player said, clean socks. Scott Lord is that he is still outwitting and making fools of the Nassau County Department of Consumer Affairs. That would be Commissioner James Picken, and it does no good to complain to the boss, Thomas Galata, the supervisor of Nassau County. The time spent on Scott this week is 3 hours, and the costs are 0. And the Appellate Division, the Second Department of the Supreme Court of the United States in Brooklyn, did it again, breaking the law with rank pro se prejudice, playing the political connection game, throwing justice to the wind, denied Glendora's appeal, affirmed Judge Fredman Dippy decision, and that now will have to be turned into a motion, notice of motion, and a motion to the New York State Court of Appeals to ask leave to appeal another bad, crooked, and political decision. The service of a chat with Glendora to show the kids today that you go to court and there's no justice. There's just political connections and lawyers paid for lying. Can you imagine making your living that way? And self-serving judges who will do anything and rule anyway and throw justice to the winds so they can get a political appointment. So it's good for children to realize that that's the way it really is, and not to go into the courts the way you and I did, thinking that the courts were for justice. Glendora will include to the New York State Court of Appeals the notice of motion and affidavit in support thereof for the to grant leave to appeal. She will include in that the Fredman record with the 3-year judgeship deal that Doris Sassower has exposed, along with exposing the no-good Commission on Judicial Conduct, New York State. That would be Gerald Stern and Lee Kite Clear and a fellow named Albert Lawrence. The law-breaking that started with Scott Lord and then went to Jan Stahl and Jeffrey Barnes and then went to the United States Bankruptcy Court, Eastern District, Judge John Robert Hall, and to his do-nothing boss about it, Conrad Duberstein, and then to the United States Trustee Harold Jones, and to the Assistant United States Trustee, former Neil Mann, and to the former United States Attorney Andrew Maloney. This is all the Eastern District, and for the present trustee Teresa Kavanaugh, and for Joseph Derby, who acts as a security guard at the Bravado Road Bankruptcy Court in Westbury. Such a long list of defendants, I forgot what I was going to tell you about them. That account is up to something like, how many pages? Pages of lying, stealing, cheating, of lying lawyers, and of crooked courts. The notice of motion and affidavit in support thereof for leave to appeal is already this many pages. And that has to be in within 30 days of the decision, and the decision was May the 1st. The decision came down against Glendora the same day that Glendora was there at the Appellate Division in Brooklyn demonstrating against self-serving judges, bad judges. Anthony Sugantino and Steve Yu over in Westchester Avenue between Corporate Park Drive and Bryant run a very good cafe, Cafe Michelle, and they have vegetarian hamburgers. They make a hamburger out of vegetarian ingredients, and it's delicious. And hi to Terry over there, who watches Glendora on Harrison, Port Chester Cablevision. Argument before the Appellate Division is really a waste of your time. You go down there and you tell them the truth and you tell them what happened and you plead for justice. Before you get there, their minds are already made up. One, they're going to rule against pro se. Two, they're going to rule in favor of their political connections. And 3, they're going to throw justice to the winds. Their minds are already made up. It's like talking to a stone wall. In fact, talking to a stone wall might be a little better. Folks, is when the economy wrestles with 3 major surpluses: corn, wheat, and Girl Scout cookies. Harold watches so many sports on TV, basketball and football and baseball and golf, that his mother-in-law says that he is suffering from athlete's seat. And during a timeout, a referee looked into the stands and he saw a woman being carried out on a stretcher. And the referee said to the coach, "What happened, heart attack?" And the coach says, "No, you called one right for a change and she fainted." Folks, this is Glendora versus Cablevision, and this is lawsuit 1. And this was brought in the United States court on December 6, 1993, a year and a half ago. No justice yet. These are the minutes by Sue Goryab, and they are 10 pages. That's the 10th page, which is really a half a page, and they cost $33. I thank Sue for getting them finally. It took 2 months to get them. I received them on Monday, May the 8th, and they cost, as I say, $33. Originally the price was $66, and I'm going to read them to you. They are what happened at the United States Courthouse, 101 East Post Road, room 27, White Plains, New York. No, that's Sue Goryab, excuse me, that's her number. It's Glendora. The case is Glendora versus Cablevision Systems Corporation. Civil 8344 Charles L. Bryant. The date is March 3rd, 1995. It's 10 pages at $3.30 a page, and the amount due is $33. Invoice due upon receipt of the transcript, so we gave her a check for $33 on Monday. It's a status conference before the Honorable Charles L. Bryant, District Judge. Appearances for the plaintiff, Glendora, pro se. For the defendants, no appearance at all. I hope I didn't get charged for that. I bet I did. Yeah, I got charged for that page. $3.30 for that. The clerk, Glendora against Cablevision Systems Corporation et al. The court, that's Judge Bryant. Is there anyone here representing any of the defendants in this case? That'd be Cablevision. Glendora against Cablevision Systems Corporation. The court notes total silence. The court has received a letter saying that there is no objection to the amendment of the complaint, and therefore that portion of the motion is granted. That means he's granting my motion to submit amended complaint. Glendora, thank you, Your Honor. Bryant, Glendora has also asked the court to allow Robert T. Perry and Brian Grafman to intervene as amicus curiae. The court would be entirely willing to do that if they would apply for a privilege, but I don't think that someone else can apply in their behalf for them to be amicus curiae. Glendora, they sent that in Wednesday, Your Honor. Court, I'm sorry? Glendora, they submitted their motion to you to be amicus curiae on Wednesday. It's in the mail. Brian, all right. Check is in the mail? Glendora, no check. Brian, is it possible that you might consider retaining one or more of them as your attorney? Or getting an attorney? Glendora, no, Your Honor. Brian, because you see, you have an interesting legal issue which will have nationwide implications for this industry. And essentially, the order of the Court of Appeal arises from the aid and assistance which you had from those very capable amicus curiae attorneys. So it would seem to me, instead of having them come in as amicus curiae, you might want to take them as your lawyers. This is an interesting legal issue, as it's now framed by the Court of Appeals, and you could benefit from legal advice. Obviously, of course, you don't have to do that. Do you know what date this motion that's in the mail is returnable? Glendora, March the 24th. Brian, what time? Glendora, I believe 9 a.m. Brian, all right. The court will hear that motion on March the 24th at 9 a.m. I trust that you will be present. If you do decide to have an attorney, maybe you would have the attorney attend also. And the court will also hear the pending motion by the defendants, which is presently returnable on March the 8th, which is not an appropriate calendar day. In other words, dumb Kalaji did not pick the correct calendar day. That will be heard on March the 24th at 9 a.m. Glendora, Your Honor, you are saying the motion to dismiss will be heard on March the 24th and not March the 8th. Brian, that's right. Glendora, not March the 8th. Brian, March the 8th? Glendora, there is no court appearance on March the 8th. Brian, there is no court appearance required on March the 8th. That's not a date that's available for us to hear motions. So Robert Kalaji, the Cablevision lawyer, who's taking all of our shareholders' money, goofed, and he picked the wrong return date. Glendora, Your Honor? Brian, now you know when you get this amended complaint, it really ought to comply with Rule 8. You should rewrite the complaint to comply with Rule 8, which you ought to read. You want to make sure you have proper service, and the amended complaint has to be filed as a separate paper. I think I will give you until March the 24th to do that. The sooner you do it, the better. If you are going to obtain an attorney, then the attorney should draft the amended complaint. No, did you start to say something? Glendora, yes, Your Honor. I am happy to be back in your court. Brian, I'm sorry? Glendora, I'm happy to be back in your court. Brian, I'm delighted that some people are happy, but litigation is only 50% successful. One side wins. Glendora, Your Honor? Brian, it's an interesting case now that the Court of Appeals has identified this issue. And as I said to you a moment ago, it's a case of some national interest in which your interest might be served by legal advice. If I understand correctly, you are back on the air. Is that true? Glendora, yes, since September the 2nd, 1994. Brian, and you have been back since then? Glendora, yes. Brian, how long were you off? Glendora, from November the 12th, 1993 to the last week of August 1994, 11 months. Brian, now, is the decision of the state court under appeal at this time? Glendora, the decision of the state court is under appeal in the Appellate Division, 2nd Department, on 13 parts, and not on 4 parts. Cablevision filed a cross appeal, and they failed to perfect it. And their last day to perfect it was February the 24th, a week ago. I was wrong about that. The Appellate Division has another rule okay, so I file an appeal. My appeal has to be perfected, meaning my brief and the record on appeal, I have to have ready and handed in 90 days. No, they changed that. It's 180 days. You have 6 months to perfect it. Get you your brief, your appellant's brief, and your record on appeal. And then it used to be that the defendant had 30 days to answer and get in his respondent's brief, but because this was a cross appeal, they had 60 days. So they had another 30 days to perfect it. And they did. And it's still in process. So, Brian, you mean you are the appellant? Glendora, repeat. Brian, you are appealing? Glendora, I appealed 13 parts. Brian, weren't you the successful party in the state court? Glendora, yes, I was the successful party as far as returning my statutory right to have my program on cable TV, and it must be returned. I was a successful party. I was also the successful party on the state law saying that no cable operator should exercise editorial control. I was successful on that. It was not unconstitutional, and that it was not overridden by the federal law. Brian, you were telling me that the appeal of the other people was dismissed? Glendora, cross appeal. Brian, what is it? Just very briefly, what is it you were appealing from the state decision? Glendora, no damages, no costs. held you had no damages? Glendora, excuse me? Did he take the decision that you had no damages? Glendora, he did not award damages, and he said that my freedom of speech and freedom of press claims were dismissed, my emotional disturbance claim was dismissed, my negligence, damages because of negligence was dismissed, and about 3 or 4 other claims. He said, Brian, have you considered whether you might be well advised to hold this case in abeyance until such time as the appellate division rules, Glendora? No, no, no. Because, Brian, maybe you should discuss that possibility with the attorney. Glendora, no, it's different issues. Brian, the amici, Glendora, no, it's different issues over in the Supreme Court, State of New York. It was State Law, Article 28, Section, no, Sue, this is wrong. Section 829(3), executive law. It's different law over there. It's the federal law 531E, Title 47, United States Code here. Brian, March the 24th at 9 a.m. Thank you very much. Glendora, okay. I wanted to ask you something, Judge Brian. I'm reading Rule 30, Discovery, and it says that I can make my demands for discovery 30 days after the case begins. Did this case begin on December the 6th, 1993, or on February the 21st, 1995? My original complaint was filed on December the 6th, 1993. My amended complaint was filed on February the 21st, 1995. So on which date did this case begin? Brian, it will begin on that day in March on which you serve your amended complaint. Okay. Glendora, that's when my case, Bryant, that's when the 30 days began. Glendora, okay. Bryant, as far as statute of limitations purposes are concerned, that relates back to the date in 1993 when you first served the summons and complaint, or when service was waived. Glendora, then I can start my discovery demands 30 days after March the 24th, 1995. Brian, on such earlier date as you file the amended complaint, you are required to comply with Rule 8. You don't have to file a long story of things that have nothing to do with the issues. Glendora, did you say 8 or 80? Brian, 8. Glendora, 8. Brian, simple and plain statement is what it says. Clear and simple plain statement. Please read it. Please read the rule. But see, if you can't get the amicus to do this for you, they have helped you pretty well up until now. That's your choice. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. And this Rule 8 says very simply that you state the jurisdiction of the court. 2, you state your claim very concisely. And 3, you state the relief you want. Glendora, well, okay. I have my jury demand. Can I hand that in now? Brian, yes, hand it to the clerk. Glendora, okay. Brian, have you served it on the other side? Glendora, yes, 2 days ago. Brian, hand it to the clerk. Glendora, thank you. Brian, thank you very much. Glendora, well, wait, I have a list. Judge Brian, did you see that Amtrak case, which is very similar to my case? It came out from the United States Supreme Court 2 or 3 days ago. Brian, I can't say that I have. Glendora, can I leave you a copy of it? Brian, oh, sure. Glendora, thanks. The issue there is the same issue as mine, that Amtrak is not a private actor. They are a state actor. Brian, all right. Thank you very much. Glendora, I gotta go now? Yeah. Brian, you don't have to go, but if you finish your business, you should go. Glendora. Something. That's wrong. I haven't. Brian, well, what else is there? Glendora, okay. Franklin.